All right, so I'm excited to tell you about the magical partnerships in the Oakridge Wellness Network and how we created that. But first, a little audience participation today. So by raise of hand, how many people have heard of a gentleman by the name of Walt Disney? All right, so we're all here this morning. We're engaged with that. So my holiday reading over the break was The Disney Way. How many have read that book? A few less people. Okay, even if you haven't read the book, I think you'll know the answer to this next question. After a few startup failures and some learning points, opportunities for learning, Walt Disney, all of his success started with a what? A mouse, exactly. Now, I'm no Walt Disney, and the Oakridge Wellness Network is certainly not Disney World. But what we do have in common is the whole thing started with a louse. Those little lice, those little things that make your head scratch in your elementary buildings a lot. I'm going to tell you that story, but first a little background about Oakridge. Oakridge is on the rural-urban fringe of Muskegon County, more rural than urban. We're approaching 70% free and reduced lunch eligibility. We're 36 square miles, 6 by 6, about 2,000 students. Our zip code, 49442, has the highest charity care in the hospital's emergency room 30 minutes downtown Muskegon in Mercy Health. You know what I mean by charity care? They go to the ER room and they have to provide them services whether you have insurance to pay for it or not. Highest charity care in our zip code. We do not have a single medical or dental provider in our entire district. We were a healthcare desert, is what we call it. Like many of you, the budget cuts were crippling our ability to provide some of the support services that our kids need so much, mental health particularly. A couple stories that I get from principals would be I get a phone call from one of the buildings. I just had this kid, we call them runners, I'm sure you all have those, bolt from the building, lie down in the middle of Wolf Lake Road, and just wanting to end it all. These are elementary kids. We have other kids, and this one's kind of sad but humorous. Another call, kid, 6th grader, bolted out the back of the building, and Mr. Latch followed him out there, made sure his classroom was covered. I get the phone call, hey, this kid's running for the power lines. Now, I've got a two-wheel drive sedan, okay? The power lines are on the other side of the forest, and I'm heading down this 2-track with my sedan trying to figure out where this kid is. Via cell phone, Mr. Latch is calling him, and I'm trying to figure out where this kid is. Clearly, a mental health issue, and those things, unfortunately, are happening too often. Other principals are looking in kids' mouths because they're out. They are on their desk, laying down. They look inside their mouth because their cheek hurts. And you can literally see the roots because their teeth are abscessed. So our kids simply didn't have the access to the primary care, medical, dental, mental health services that they need. They wait until it's so bad, and then they go to the ER, 30 minutes downtown, if they have a car to get there. So then I received this other phone call. I call this the phone call. The principal said, I just met with one of the grandparents of one of our kids. You remember that one that's donated the garbage bags to put the kids' coats in so that the lice doesn't go from kid to kid? The same one that purchased lockers to help out with make sure the clothing, because this grandparent was deathly afraid of lice and was doing all she could. Well, this time, the principal said, this individual wants to donate $100,000 to hire a lice checker. I'm not kidding. They wanted us to hire a lice checker. So now I couldn't, in good conscience, accept that, but I can only say this in hindsight, but this moment was the moment that was the start of the Oakridge Wellness Network. A lot of research, be honest, a little Googling. I didn't have the shirt that says, "What does the research say?" But I did a little Googling and found out that there was, the hospital had a benefit arm that has the research of best practices for providing health services to the community. So I made a connection there. And I can tell you, as destiny would have it, I'm thankful that the right louse went home on the right kid to the right grandparent who had the right heart with the right resources, with the right courage to actually stand up and actually do something and put some effort behind it. Now, through all the conversations, we did not end up hiring a lice checker. We hired a community health worker who is it's a research-proven way, if done correctly, to coordinate and help families connect with the right services, not just check their heads, but actually expand those services. That $100,000 actually kept that person in place at Oakridge for 3 years, and we figured out a very creative way that they could bill for services, and that services is still maintained yet to this day. So that success built a relationship with another opportunity where we hire a health navigator called Project Healthy Grad, bringing in health navigators similar to the community health worker, but these services were starting to be provided at no cost to the district. So with those, while these initial successes were going on, I was involved in one of MAS's credentialing programs, then called Courageous Journey. And the assignment for that course that we were taking together was you had to have a culminating project that you wanted to, you had to filter and learn through the 7 pillars of learning, and you had that big goal, that big thing that you wanted to do. Well, I didn't know how to do it, but this initial research, and I just flippantly said, you know what? We're going to build a health center. We're going to put medical and dental services right inside our school. I had no idea how to do it, but that's what we did, and I set that big, audacious goal. So fortunately, through this process, we were able to develop a relationship with Grand Valley State University, Kirchhoff College of Nursing, downtown Grand Rapids, and were looking to expand their services to figure out how they could help the community. We also developed a relationship with Muskegon Community College, who also had an associate's degree program, and try to figure out how they can get their students out into the services and provide those services to the community. This alliance, we ended up going for a Kellogg Foundation, and unfortunately we were not successful in applying for that grant. We had all the right people in all the right places. We really thought we had the vision well, and it just didn't happen. But we learned a lot. Our paths eventually crossed with Hackley Community Care. Everybody in this process, through failing for that grant with the Kellogg Foundation, it all came together when Hackley Community Care got involved. We had the MyFi data, we had the community focus groups, we had relationships with MDHHS, with the Pathway to Potentials program, and a state grant opened up at the state level to operate a teen health center. It was contingent upon finding the local donors to build the health center that the grant would pay for the operating it. We were awarded that grant. We were able to get the right partners to earn $500,000 to build a 3,600 square foot state-of-the-art teen health center, 3 dental operatories, 3 medical exam rooms, a mental health professional. Our kids can literally walk down the hall to see the doctor. Success stories. The first patient of the teen health center heard about it coming because it took a lot of time to get there. Couldn't hear out of his left ear. He was trying to, waiting for the service to come because he just couldn't hear. And that was able to be provided because his family didn't have a car and had no access and no idea how to get the services that they need. Cutting, girls, has been reduced. Mental health has been helped. Our absences have reduced from full day to half day absences to literally 15 minutes going down the hall. So like I said, it's really been magical to see the Wellness Network come together. And it's certainly no magic kingdom that we're developing, but people are wanting to join the Wellness Network. And you see all the people that are in our network in the brochures that are sitting on your table today. So 4 points that I'm going to close with. And again, it comes from the Disney way, if you've read that book. Walt talks about these 4 things with leadership, and it comes down to 1, dream. Somebody's got to have the big idea, somebody's got to dream big, and somebody's got to figure out to make these things happen. So dream. Number 2 is believe. I'm not just talking about believe in that dream, but do you really believe that all kids can learn? Do you really believe that all kids need to be helped with those support services? Do you really believe in the whole child and making sure those needs are met? Number 3 is dare. Sometimes you got to take risks and do something that's outside the box that maybe not everybody's on board with. And number 4 is do. Somebody's got to make all this stuff happen. And if it's not you, then who? So as I conclude, there's a lot more to this story, and I'd love to have more conversations. But if I can encourage you to do anything, it's dream, believe, dare, do. It's not just the Disney way, it's the Oakridge way too. Thank you.